So I'm going to start making a snail cam using the parametric constraints. And if I look at my depiction of the snail cam here, the radius of this cam is 1/2 of my nominal diameter, and the inner circle has a nominal radius of 1/4 d. So I'm going to set that up in Autodesk with those parametric constraints, and of course I'm going to use the fixed 3/16 of an inch for my axle hole. Go ahead, we'll start a new part, and let's put in that nominal diameter. User parameters, add numeric, type in the letter D, and per my assignment I'm going to use a 2-inch to start with, and hit done. So now I'm going to go ahead and start with a sketch on the XY plane, put in a circle, make sure that I'm set up with radius. Again, if I right click and you look down here and it says diameter, then you're already making radiuses, and you can see that. If it says radius here, you can just click on it to change it back and forth between radius and diameter. I want it to be a radius. So I'm not going to left click, I'm going to type in D/2, and that sets up my circle as 1/2 D. And I see my FX there is 1 inch, which according to my formula, 1/2 of D, D is 2, so 1/2 of D is 1 inch, so perfect. Alright, I'm going to put my inner circle in, starting again at the center, going up. This is D divided by 4. You see how that went from red to black? That means that Autodesk has accepted my formula, and it will allow me to hit enter without any errors. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is put in a line, and I'm not going to dimension this line. I'm going to allow it to be coincident with the outer circle and the inner circle. And you'll see how it defaulted in here. See that constraint right there? That is a vertical constraint, and that's what I need, that vertical constraint. If it's not there, you can place it by clicking right here, put a vertical constraint here, and then on your line, and do it to the center of your circle. So that's okay. So I'm going to right click and hit OK. The next thing I need to do is add in an arc, and I want that arc to start right here and go out. And when I set it up in here, I don't want it to actually touch this circle because I don't want to create a coincident constraint just yet. So I just put it out here like that, and I want that curve of that arc to go in this direction. I don't want it over here. I need it this way. It just makes it easier to do the next step. So I'm going to left click and I'm going to hit OK. Now I haven't put any dimension in yet, so the only dimensions that I should have in here right now are the outer circle at D divided by 2 and the inner circle D divided by 4. So let's double check that, and sure enough, there it is. I got those 2 constraints. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add some tangent, and I want to start with the arc and the inner circle. That way it locks this piece in here, and then I'm going to start with this arc to the outer circle. And that's perfect. And you'll notice that this thing didn't go all the way. It's not touching here, and that's okay. What I'm going to do is use the extension tool. Just click on the arc, and all I have to do is hover over it, and you can see that black line appears right there. That is where it's going to extend to, is it'll continue extending along until it actually touches the object that I want it to be tangent to, or the next object, since that's the constraint that I have for it. If this had been a straight line, it would have continued on until it touched the next object. Alright, so that is you can see kind of my snail cam starting to take shape now. So let's get rid of some excess by trimming, and I'm just going to trim this right here. I can't trim this inside one. If I do, you're going to get an error reading, and the reason is that this inner circle here has a dimension, this 0.5. If I try to cut it entirely, I'm going to see where I get this curve being executed trimmed as a dimension, so it won't let me remove the entire thing. I can remove a portion of it, but I can't remove the whole thing. But that's okay, I don't need to. I've got what I want. I'm going to finish my sketch. And then I'm going to, you know what I need to do before I extrude this? I'm going to go back to my sketch. If you do, by the way, make an error here, don't go starting a new sketch. That causes you all kinds of trouble. Go back to the sketch you were working on. Make sure you click on the picture portion, double click, you can get back into the sketch you were working on that makes it so much easier than having a new sketch there, especially when you try to extrude it later. I forgot to add my circle for the center in here. Now this circle, where the axle goes, has a diameter of 3/16 of an inch. And so if you'll remember, right now I'm making radiuses, and so I need to switch this to a diameter so that I have, and then I'm just going to type in 3/16 and then enter. And there's my 3/16 inch circle. Now I can finish the sketch and extrude, and I'll start for the inside out and there, and I'm going to leave that hole where it is, and I'm going to put in 3/16 and enter, and there's my pear cam. Perfect, and that's exactly the shape that I want. If I go back up here and look at my parametric constraints, again I've got a D0, a D1, that's the two circles, and then I've got the D2, which is the diameter of the axle hole, and there is D3, which is the extrusion depth, and then D4 is the 0 degrees. So that is perfect. So let's go and place it like that. I'm going to put in a eye properties, change this to physical, and change this to ABS plastic, and update that. And now I'm ready to take my snip so that I can turn this in as part of my Google slide. So again, I'm just going to use a snip tool and capture, and make sure you get all of this in here just like that. And that's ready to be saved.